to Taco Bell. What can I get started for you?
For decades, fast food sold Americans the same simple promise: cheap, fast, convenient, a meal you can grab on your lunch break, a snack during your little road trips, a late night decision you knew was questionable, but you made it anyway. Because let's be honest, there's something strangely comforting about eating something you already know is probably a bad idea. It's like texting your ex. You know the consequences, but you do it anyway. In 2026, fast food started creating a different kind of regret. Not that I shouldn't have eaten a fourth burger kind, the kind where people started asking, why did my lunch send me into survival mode? Across the country, fast food safety investigators began tracking a growing outbreak connected to a microscopic parasite called Cyclospora. A parasite so small you can't see it, but the damage it can cause, very noticeable. For thousands of people, a normal meal turned into days of stomach pain, dehydration, and a desperate search for the closest bathroom. And the strangest part, many people didn't get sick immediately. The problem was already inside them. They just didn't know it yet. When people think about food poisoning, they usually imagine one thing: a restaurant kitchen, someone leaving chicken out too long, a dirty cooking surface, a mistake happening behind the counter. But modern food contamination is more complicated than that, because your food often travels farther than you do. A single ingredient can move through farms, processing facilities, distribution centers, a bunch of trucks, restaurants, customers and consumers, customers and the people that are serving you. And at every step, there's a chance something can go wrong. In 2026, investigators began tracing cases of cyclospora infections connected to contaminated shredded iceberg lettuce served at certain Taco Bell locations. The investigation involved multiple states and eventually led to recalls and warnings as officials worked to identify the official source. And this is where the story gets complicated. Because the villain wasn't some cartoon character in a dirty kitchen. It wasn't one careless employee. It was something much harder to fight: a supply chain. The modern food system is one of humanity's greatest achievements. It allows someone in Ohio to eat vegetables grown hundreds or thousands of miles away. It gives restaurants access to ingredients all year long. But the same system that makes food available everywhere also means contamination can travel everywhere all at the same time. A problem that begins in one location can become a national investigation. And the scary part, by the time anyone notices, the food has already been eaten. Somewhere, there was probably a detective staring at the wall, covered in lettuce photos, thinking, hey, after 20 years in food safety, I never expected that my biggest suspect would be a vegetable no one even wanted on their taco. I'm okay with cilantro. No one wants no lettuce. No one ever thinks about lettuce. Cyclospora is not bacteria. It's not a virus. It's a parasite. And what makes it especially frustrating is how patient it is. This isn't a dramatic movie villain. It doesn't announce itself. There's no warning, no flashing sign saying, congratulations, your lunch has betrayed you. It waits. Wait, hold on. Except McDonald's. That some places is good, but it screams, yeah, don't eat. Back in the day, yeah, but now it waits. The symptoms can take days, sometimes longer, to appear. meaning someone can eat contaminated food, feel completely normal, and only later realizes something is wrong, like normal food poisoning. By the time symptoms appear, but it could be worse. By the time symptoms appear, people often have no idea where the infection came from. Was it yesterday's meal? Last week's meal? The questionable gas station sandwich I promise, or they promise themselves they'll never buy again. The investigation becomes a puzzle. Doctors are treating patients, scientists are tracing samples, health departments are comparing reports, and everyone is trying to answer the same question: where did this begin? Because food is different from almost everything else we consume. We can inspect a phone, we can test a car, we can check a building, but food disappears. The evidence is gone. The receipt is in the trash. And the person who ate it is left wondering, was it the tacos or was it the suspicious leftovers I ignored for 3 days? The Cyclospora investigation created headlines because it was immediate. People got sick, officials investigated, restaurants responded. But underneath that story was a bigger question. Why does it feel like our relationship with food has changed? Because for millions of Americans, the problem isn't just one contaminated ingredient. It's the feeling that food itself has become a gamble. Not every meal, not every restaurant, but enough times that people started noticing a pattern. The stomach ache after lunch, the afternoon crash, the bloating, the feeling that your body is filing a formal complaint against your decisions. And this isn't just a fast food problem. It's part of a much larger shift in how modern societies eat. For most of human history, food was simple. You found it, you grew it, you cook it. Then the industrial food revolution changed everything. Food became faster, cheaper, more convenient, and much more easier to consume. The same technology that created incredible convenience also created something new. Food designed not to feed us, but to keep us coming back. Walk into almost any grocery store today and you'll see something strange. Thousands of products, hundreds of brands, but many of them are built from the same basic ingredients. Refined carbohydrates, added sugars, processed oils, artificial flavors, ingredients designed to create a very specific experience. Eat, enjoy, want more. The scientific term often used for many of these foods are ultra processed foods. These are foods that have been heavily altered from their original form through industrial processing. And researchers have increasingly studied their relationship with the health outcomes, including weight gain and metabolic issues. The debate is not whether every processed food is automatically bad. A protein bar and a bag of candy are both processed, but they are obviously not the same thing. The bigger question is, how many of our diet is made up of foods our ancestors would barely recognize? Because our brains evolved in a world where calories were hard to find, and suddenly humanity created a world where calories are everywhere. It's like giving a person who loves gambling ultimate, unlimited casino chips and saying, don't worry, just have some self-control. And food companies became incredibly good at creating products that hit the perfect combination of crunch, salt, sugar, and fat. Basically the food equivalent of a catchy song you hate, but somehow you know every word. One of the biggest differences between traditional diets and modern diets is something incredibly boring. So boring that most people ignore it: fiber. Nobody wakes up and says, today I'm craving a delicious bowl of dietary fiber. Fiber doesn't have a marketing department. It doesn't have celebrity endorsements. It doesn't come with a catchy slogan, but your digestive system depends on it. Fiber helps support digestion, helps regulate blood sugar, and plays an important role in feeding beneficial gut bacteria, yet many Americans consume far less fiber than recommended. The result, a modern diet where people can eat thousands of calories while still missing some of the basic things the body needs. The irony is almost impressive. Human beings invented agriculture, created supermarkets, built global supply chains, developed technologies that can deliver food to your door in 20 minutes, and somehow many people still struggle to eat enough plants. Human civilization. Look at our incredible achievements. Also, human civilization. Why haven't we eaten a vegetable since Tuesday? Cyclospora nowadays, I guess. The biggest damage from a food scare isn't always the illness, it's trust. Because food is personal. We don't just consume it, we build routines around it. A favorite restaurant, a family tradition, a meal after a long day. When people get sick from something they trusted, the reaction is emotional. And that creates a difficult challenge for the industry because consumers are asking questions they weren't really asking years ago. Where did this come from? How was it produced? What exactly am I eating? And perhaps the biggest question, do I actually feel good after eating this? But here's where the story gets complicated. Fast food isn't going away. And realistically, most people aren't going to suddenly start growing, their own vegetables, raising chickens and making homemade bread every morning. That's a lot of work. Nobody has that kind of time, especially not the person who considers putting laundry away a major accomplishment, also me. The challenge isn't perfection, it's balance. The question is whether convenience has gone too far and whether the system built to save us time and, give us some freedom is slowly creating new problems. Every day, billions of people eat food without thinking about the incredible system behind it, and honestly, that's a good thing. The fact that most people can walk into a restaurant, order a meal, and trust that it won't make them sick is one of the greatest achievements that modern society has came up with. But it also creates a strange contradiction. The more complicated the system becomes, the harder it becomes to control every single point. Your meal may have traveled farther than you have. A tomato might cross borders. A piece of lettuce might pass through multiple companies. A chicken sandwich might involve dozens of people before it even reaches your hand. The modern food system is built on speed. Restaurants compete to serve faster. Companies compete to produce cheaper. Companies compete against the clock. Because everyone wants the same thing: more convenience, less waiting, lower prices. But sometimes speed creates vulnerability. And when something goes wrong, the entire system has to slow down and figure out where the mistakes happen. Think about asbestos. Yeah, just think about that. Imagine investigating a crime scene where the evidence has already been eaten by thousands of people. That's basically the nightmare scenario of food safety investigators. The suspect is gone, the crime scene is empty, and half of the witnesses are currently texting, "Hey, does anyone else feel weird?" And food safety experts are also watching other challenges: a changing environment. The organism that causes foodborne illnesses don't exist separately from the world around them. Temperature, water, agriculture conditions, transportation, all of these factors can influence how contamination happens and spreads. Parasites like, Cyclospora have historically been associated with certain types of environmental conditions. And that comes to the certain climates when it's hot, hot climates creating opportunities for contamination. That doesn't mean every outbreak has one simple cause. Food safety is rarely that easy, but it does mean the future may require better tracking, faster testing, and stronger systems. And the way we protect that food has to change with it. So, where does fast food go from here? Because despite everything we've discussed, basically, millions of people aren't giving up their food. So, where does fast food go from here? because despite everything we've discussed, millions of people aren't giving up their favorite restaurant, and they probably won't. Fast food survived criticism about calories, it survived criticism about advertising, it survived criticism about portion sizes because convenience is powerful. The reality is simple: people are busy, they have jobs, families, responsibilities. Sometimes dinner is it's 8:45 at night and everyone's hungry and nobody has the energy to cook. And honestly, it's relatable because I've done it a lot. The average person's refrigerator has two settings: nothing or leftovers, old enough to have their own driver's license. But the industry is changing. Consumers are demanding more transparency, more information, better ingredients, and companies are responding because customers have something more powerful than companies. They have choices, they could go somewhere else. The future of food may not be about, eliminating convenience. It may not be about making convenience, healthier. A quick meal shouldn't require negotiation with your stomach afterwards. For decades, fast food has built its identity around one promise: affordable food for everyone. But today, consumers are noticing something uncomfortable. The price is changing, the ingredients are being questioned. Yeah, because all of them seem to be lying, and the experience doesn't always match the promise. The question is no longer simply, is this meal cheap? The question has become, what am I really paying? Money, health, time, trust? Because food has always been more than fuel. It's culture, it's memories, it's connection, a meal with family, a late night conversation, a road trip stop. Food is a part of how humans experience life, which is why when people lose trust in their food, they don't just feel disappointed, they feel betrayed. The story of fast food in 2026 isn't about one parasite, one restaurant, or one batch of ingredients. It's about something bigger. It's about the relationship between humans and the system that feeds them. A system that is incredibly advanced but not perfect. A system that gives us incredible convenience but sometimes asks us to ignore the warning signs. The answer probably isn't never eat fast food again. Most people won't. The answer isn't pretending every meal has to be perfect. Nobody got time for that. The real question is, can we build a food system where convenience and quality don't have to be enemies? Because at the end of the day, we shouldn't have to choose between saving time and trusting what we're eating. Because ordering lunch shouldn't feel like signing a contract you didn't read, especially when the fine print says possible side effects include regret, discomfort, and a very close relationship with your bathroom. The next time you grab a quick meal, remember, behind every bite is a story. The question is whether it's one we want to keep telling.